And this beautifully leads me to the fifth critical choice. The fifth critical choice that I made was to embrace, like literally take it, embrace it, my boundless capacity to give love, the verb, the action, the verb of love, and accept the love that others want to give me. And I think a lot of what we're talking about, it from my perspective, plays into that. Because a lot of people will start talking about love the emotion, and I don't mean love the emotion that's not a choice. I'm talking about love the verb that is a choice, and that manifests in different ways for different people in different cultures and different situations. So, and I think we've peppered that in here in this conversation. Will you give me your perspective on how giving love the verb manifests in your world?
So I think it's such an interesting question, and the way you've pulled it apart is really interesting as well. Because right, we say love, we immediately go to the emotion, which is different than expressing it. And again, this is not necessarily romantic love or familial love, but how do you actually just show your love for other people? And I think it really,
Yes, humans.
yeah, humans, and it is to me, it's sort of being there when it's inconvenient, being there when it takes a little extra effort. So again, the two examples I just talked about of people reaching out and saying, "Hey, I know you're busy, but can you help?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm really busy, but I'm not too busy for that because you're trying to express love. I'm going to help you in that as well." And so, that's it. And I know because I've had a lot of help along my journey, and people who have gone out of their way and said, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll tell you about this. I'll help you out there." That people, I get calls about, "Hey, can I do an informational interview about what it's like to be in academia or to be in crisis leadership or whatever?" And I'm always, unless I'm going to be on an airplane someplace, say yes, because that was
Yeah, I
given,
mean, you said yes to me
yeah,
all
right,
the way.
right. And this is,
Yeah.
yeah, this
You
is
were when I asked you to spend this time with me.
right. And we keep paying it forward and paying it sideways to each other. We are rich beyond belief. And to me, that is what, love is has no limit. So being able to pay it forward that way, and it is, to me, it's a privilege and it's an honor, and it's what, at the end of the day, what makes life worth it.
Eric, thank you. Thank you for choosing, like we just said, choosing to give me your love. I'll say that. Give me your love by accepting this invitation, coming in and spending this time with me. And really, for everyone who knows you, who's watching this, they've watched your TEDx talk. For those who haven't, I am telling you, just go and Google or go to YouTube, whatever, make it easy. Google Eric McNulty, MC capital NULTY. You'll see it on here. And his TEDx talk, if I get it right, overcoming the faults in our default thinking.
That's right.
But your talk, and I was right there in the front of the audience, hit me so hard with your focus on community, trust. You didn't use the word love. That's the word that came into my mind. And the idea of moving from a me to
Hmm.
a me to a we type of thinking. And I learn from you every time I interact with you. And I thank you so much for that.
Thank you. I want to say one last thing about that TEDx evening, if I may, because it so relates to what we just talked about, which was that was an environment. There were 15 of us, I
Yes,
think, who were
please.
speaking that evening, and that could have been a hyper competitive environment. We all had an hour TED talk to deliver, but that was such an instant community, and there was so much love in that room, and people like you rooting for
Totally.
me and me rooting for you, and it became very much not about us. We had our moment, we had our 10 minutes on the stage to do our thing, but the 8 hours that we were there,
Yeah.
believe it or not, folks, was all about being there for each other. And being there for each
It
other and
was.
loving each other and
It
supporting.
absolutely. Yes. Yes. There was no me. It went from me to we.
Absolutely.
And each of us made that happen. Each of us intentionally made that happen. And I am with you, Eric. It was an incredible experience. And now I have another community. I now have another community. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Choose and Become interview series. Thank you for being along this journey. Choose and become. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Choose and Become interview series. To check out more episodes, go to www.trishkendall.com/podcast, or go to any of your favorite podcast channels, including YouTube, under Trish Kendall Speaks, and you'll find this interview and more. Choose and become.